I want to measure how long my trainer is. I'm going to measure my trainer using buttons. I'm going to put some buttons down. Some heart-shaped buttons. Oh, it's a bit dark for you if I move it up like that. That's a bit better. It's not as dark that way. So I'm going to line up my buttons with the end of my shoe, and I'm going to put the buttons down. So I have measured my shoe with buttons. My shoe is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My shoe is 10 buttons long. What do you think of my way of measuring? Do you agree with my way of measuring, or do you disagree with my way of measuring? Pause the video and have a think. This way of measuring is not good. Why do you think it is not a good way to measure my trainer? If you look at the buttons, there's two things wrong. One thing is that they're different sizes. Look at this heart-shaped button and this flower-shaped button. They are two different sizes. The other thing is that my buttons all have gaps in them, and when we're measuring, we can't have any gaps. So let's try another example. I'm going to measure my trainer with counters. I'm going to measure my trainer with these counters that we're all familiar with. I'm going to I'm going to line them up with the end of my shoe. My trainer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 counters long. Do you agree with my way of measuring, or do you disagree with my way of measuring? Pause the video and have a think. This is a bad way of measuring. All the counters are the same size, but I've left massive gaps in between. So I'm going to try that again with the counters, but I'm going to try to do it without any gaps because we need to be really accurate. I'm going to line them all up so there's no gaps in between each counter. There we go. So now I can see that my trainer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My trainer is 10 counters long. So when we measure with different objects, we have to make sure of two things. The objects need to be the same size, and the objects cannot have any gaps. Same size, no gaps. So we measured my trainer earlier. This time, I want to measure how long my switch is. So remember, we need to make sure that the objects that we're measuring with are the same size, and we have to make sure that there's no gaps. I'm going to use counters again. Let's see how long my switch is in counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My switch is 9, oops, there's a gap there, 9 counters long. Let's see how long my switch is using a different object. I want to measure my switch using Harry Potter Lego characters. So we have to first make sure that the characters are all the same size, because the last time I checked, some of the characters are a bit taller than the other ones. Like, look, this Ron character is a lot taller than this Harry character. So we have to be very careful. Let's put them back to back to see. Yeah, look, Harry is a lot taller than Ron, so I have to be careful that I'm choosing the characters that are the same size. 1, 2, make sure that this Harry is the same height, yep. 3, same size, yep. 4, oh, maybe his hat makes him really tall. Yep, take his hat off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit. 5 and a little bit. So 5, maybe, and a half a Lego character if we take off this guy's legs. Oh no, his hair's fallen off. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a half Lego character. So my switch is 5.5 Lego characters long. This time I want to measure my Fables book. I want to measure how tall my Fables book is, and I'm going to measure it with crayons. I'm going to put them this way. So 1, 2, 3. My Aesop's Fable book is 3 crayons tall. I also want to try to measure my Aesop's Fable book with Dean's. So first we're going to use 10s Dean's. 1, 2. Oh, what seems to be the problem? Look really carefully at the bottom here. What seems to be the problem? Look at the end of the book and then look at the Dean's. What is the problem? Pause the video and have a think. The problem is that the Dean's stick out. So the book is 10, 20, but it's not quite 30 Dean's long. It's not quite 30 because there's a bit that sticks out. We can't say it's 30 because the book isn't that long. What can we do with this 10s Dean? 10 is the same as 10 ones. So I'm going to swap out my 10 for 10 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to swap this one out for 10 ones. Then I'm going to line up my ones to see exactly how many cubes my book is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my Aesop's Fable book is 10, 20, switch, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 Deans tall. The next thing I'm going to measure is my toothbrush. We're first going to measure my toothbrush in Counting Animal Piggies. I've purposely chosen all pigs. I wonder why you think I've chosen all the same animal. Pause the video and think, why did I choose all the same animal? I chose all the same animal because we have to make sure that the thing we're measuring with is the same size. If I chose a bunny, for example, the bunny is a different size than the pig and it wouldn't be accurate. So I'm going to use the piggies and I'm going to line them up this way. So my toothbrush is 1, 2, remember no gaps, 3, 4, 5, it just fits. So my toothbrush is 5 counting pigs long. Next we're going to use Dean's. 10, 20. Oh, not quite. Look, a bit of it sticks out there. So it's not quite 20. So what are we going to do with this 10? Going to swap it for 10 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's use these ones. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. My toothbrush is 19 Deans long. So your task now is to measure a shoe, a toothbrush, and a wooden spoon. And you are going to measure these 3 objects using different smaller objects from around your house. So remember, those objects need to be the same size and they can have no gaps. Bye guys.